Are you tired of the same old pro wrestling? Then check out the amazing action on Powerslam.tv, the biggest indie pro wrestling channel in the world. Get over 4,000 hours of the best pro wrestling events from over 110 of the biggest names in the industry from over 15 countries around the globe. Get your free trial today at Powerslam.tv.
This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they're kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular, dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
You got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans, and that's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's edition of One Nation Radio. I'm James Boyd, and here with me I have Rich Latta. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. Just been kicking it in the crib and chilling.
Quarantine.
Just another day in the house. Playing lots of Fire Pro Wrestling, and I loaded up the WWE 2K14 back when those games were fire. I have that on PS3.
Who was on the
Played
cover?
A lot of. The Rock is on the cover of that one, and then the alternate cover is Daniel Bryan.
That's right.
Yeah. So, but I played lots and lots of Fire Pro. I beat the the story mode or whatever. So check this out. So this shit, it's like you're a wrestler, and you're playing essentially the year of 2017 in New Japan. So before that, you're a young lion. You eventually start getting more moves and more points and everything like that. Then you go on excursion. So you go to this fictional promotion in America called the SWA. And
what would you compare it to? What would you say it has parallels to?
I would say it's just like a territory.
Okay.
It's like a Ring of Honor at best, right?
Okay.
And you roll with this dude named Steel Johnson. That's who's kind of shepherding you or whatever around.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
That's not a euphemism.
Exactly.
That's one of the things, I think it was in Bill Simmons' book, talking about how famous Magic Johnson was. You forget his name is a euphemism. His nickname's a euphemism.
Exactly.
A Magic Johnson. Come on.
Exactly.
Now. That's a porn name. That's a porn name.
Exactly. So you come back to New Japan, and the whole time the people that are have been bringing you up are Yuji Nagata, Super Strong Machine, and they put you in the main unit. So you're rolling with Makabe, you're rolling with Tanahashi, you're rolling with Taguchi.
Wait. Super Strong Machine, the mask gimmick.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. He's you're having training matches against him or whatever. When you come back or whatever, you make your debut with all the young lions at Wrestle Kingdom 11 or whatever, right? I pretty much go through the whole year with my dude just getting better and better and better. Win the New Japan Cup, and you get a shot at the Never Belt, so you got to fight Goto. Win, you go to Dominion. You eventually win the 6-man belts. You fight in the G1. You win your block. You're in the A block of the G1, so you don't see Okada. So it's just like 2017 in New Japan. It's all the same matchups and everything, but you're in the A block. So in the A block, I go through Ibushi, I go through Tanahashi, go through Naito, fight Kenny in the finals, beat Kenny. After that, you're defending the title against Tanahashi, and then you go through it and you win World Tag League with Makabe, and then you're the tag team champions as well. So you have the Never 6-man belts, you have the Never belt, you have the IC belt, and you also have the goddamn tag team belts. They be like, yeah, so what am I gonna be doing for Wrestle Kingdom? They fucking blow you. You are defending the Intercontinental title against Tetsuya Naito in the semi-main event. I'm like, are you fucking serious? I won the G1. What is wrong with you, you crooks? So after you beat Naito, the shit is over.
Hey, it went up to a fan vote.
Yeah. So I beat Naito and it's over. Like, you never challenged for the IWGP title. You don't even get to look at Okada. This is ridiculous.
That's not for you, baby. That's not for you.
Yeah, so you run around with every other belt in the promotion. You won all the tournaments. Nope. Your big match is wrestling Tetsuya Naito. Thank you, developers. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, so I think your growing dislike of Naito has like it's like completely like just tampered like your idea of like what he is as a star, like, or like the dude is absolutely one of the top 2 or 3 biggest names in New Japan in front of the native base. So it's like you treating it like as if that's some like demotion.
Bro, it's such a letdown.
It's
like,
a video game, Rich.
First, I already fought the dude in the G1, whooped his ass or whatever. And then they're like, I've done it all. And what they give me is the semi-main event, defend the belt. Really?
So, do you find out who Okada faced at Wrestle Kingdom instead?
No. You don't find anything out. It just ends. Like, so you don't find anything out because, like, I'm in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, it's still on the same map as the timeline, but like Okada fought Naito in real life, so like.
Right.
What the fuck happened? Like, Jericho's not.
He probably
in the
fought
story.
Kenny again.
He probably fought Kenny, but they didn't tell me.
Right. You wouldn't want to know that.
Unbelievable.
Hey, man.
Crooks. And then what they do is like, would you like to go through the mode again? But this time you can join. You can do the path for LIJ. You can join Suzuki-gun, or you can join Chaos. And then like you have to beat all 4 scenarios. I imagine they all lead to like different things. But after they blew me with this defense, after I done won all these belts, they can't be trusted. But you know, my no doubt my favorite thing in Fire Pro is definitely Fire Promoter. You know, putting together my own promotion and making all this here money. You know, signing this talent.
Yeah, explain. Okay, so you would explain to the people how you're making all this money?
I don't know. Like, so you know, great management, great booking,
great management, huh?
Great management. I took the promotion from a small indie promotion in Florida.
Thief. This man.
I took the promotion. Well, you didn't see the right thing. So
I didn't see the right thing. I saw that you made what? How many millions of dollars?
I have like that's like my work. I have like $208 million right now.
You have $208 million. Rich, do you want to tell the people what your payroll is?
Okay, the payroll.
No. Don't get into explaining the capping. Just explain what your payroll is.
So the payroll, it was around like $412,000 or something.
Listen to this crook.
Now the thing is that's not just
this is
one time thing. This is every month. Look, I'm paying this out every month to these wrestlers. Sometimes they get disgruntled. I give them raises to make sure they don't get unhappy, to make sure they don't walk.
Look,
but the thing is, I built this promotion up.
Vincent Kennedy McMahon pays his talent more per month than you do.
They only allow you to pay so much.
Huh?
They only allow you to pay so much.
Oh, okay.
So the deal with it is they give you 3 options for the raise. You pick the most expensive one, you try to do it again, it's like, oh, you already raised this person this month, so you gotta wait. But I'm 8 years into the mode now, and by this time, like, I'm getting huge national broadcasting deal that's giving me like $1 million a month. You run shows and you make money off merch and everything like that, and you're signing and scouting talent, and building up your gym to make sure no one gets injured. I have a maxed out gym at this point. I should really teach a course on how to build your Fire Pro promotion up. Crazy shit happens in the mode too. People go out of business. There are people that end up fighting fans. I think Cody had got a DUI, if I'm not mistaken. It was like, yes, bro, ridiculous stuff happens in the mode. So if you guys haven't ever played Fire Promoter in Fire Pro Wrestling, I recommend it. People will retire on your ass. Like, it was ridiculous. Like, so you don't ever have to play a match. You can just manage or whatever, if you so choose. So
who's your ace right now?
What's up?
Who is your ace right now?
Goldberg, I believe. Goldberg has a championship. So the thing about Goldberg is he never loses in simulation. Ever. So so he had one title reign where he went through like 10 straight times, and then I had to have a match against him to beat him for the belt to try to move it around to, help some other people or whatever, try to, increase their popularity. Eventually, I always come back to Goldberg because he never goes down in popularity either. So it's just throw it back on him and then try to rinse it out and whatever. But
has the internet has the internet on Fire Pro yet complained about him being overpushed, about how his act is stale yet, or no?
No.
It's almost as
he's an S rank. He's an S rank.
I don't know what that means.
Oh, okay. So there's there's an S rank, and then there's an A, B, C, D rank. So if you're a D, you're unpopular. C, the higher you go, S is superstar.
Okay, gotcha.
So,
okay, that's nice. It's nice that you be super popular, and then with good booking, you stay popular. I like the thought of that.
Amazing. It's amazing, man.
I really like the thought of that. Yeah.
Anyway, enough about my, the Florida Wrestling Alliance.
Hey man, you gave him 11 minutes. 11 minutes on.
Look at this. In tough times, I try to entertain, But we got a lot on the list, kind of.
Not really.
Okay.
Not really.
Well, I'll plug something real quick. I did do a show with Chad Matthews last night. I believe he's bringing back his podcast for a special project. It's kind of like his book of his book of the WrestleMania era 2.0 podcast. He's basically taking what would be the next release in the book, putting it in audio format, considering new people that weren't in the last book, such as AJ Styles at this point, which we thought that was the perfect person to kind of kick it off with, because AJ not only has the outside of WWE resume, but the inside of WWE resume as well. And we thought that'd be a good place to kind of, start the project, because if you've never watched AJ aside from WWE, if you're only watching WWE, you can clearly see who the fuck that dude was. And then you add on, 10 years or 12 years in Impact, and then his run in New Japan, which essentially gets him to WWE. Talking about probably somewhere in the 20s or in the 10 through 20 range, probably towards the 20 part for AJ at this point. And we saw his peaks in 2016. Obviously, he's it was a funny thing, because it's almost now I made this analogy. So it's kind of you remember, we're going to talk about The Last Dance in a minute, but Michael Jordan was making $3 million his whole career, right? Until the last 2 years,
right?
Where he was cashing out.
He's making 30 a piece.
Correct. Yep. So AJ Styles has essentially been on that low payroll, still being great, whatever. Mm-hmm. And now when he's washed, right? And not saying Jordan was washed, but in AJ's case, this man's adding on a WrestleMania main event in his twilight when his performance has been dipped off the cliff.
Yeah, so, in a way, you could probably really more closely compare it to Scotty. Scotty got his money once he left the Bulls. Once he's a Rocket and he becomes a Blazer, that's when he starts getting all the money on the back end. And that's the thing that I think people, we'll get to in a second with the talk about the Jordan documentary, but people felt so bad for Scotty, not realizing eventually Scotty was made whole in a way that obviously they're not really digging into that right now, because they're supposed to be they're taking it back to 98 or 97, 98. But don't worry about Scotty. Scotty got his money.
Yeah, lots of it. So, like, AJ is, like, getting now in his twilight what essentially he didn't have all those years when he was on lower platforms, essentially. Like, so he's getting his, his headlining stuff, his everything like that, his business, all that stuff.
Right. Isn't it nice?
While the work is already solidified.
Right. Isn't it nice when the talent, the worker is able to finally recoup, not the company? Isn't it nice?
Like, bro, when AJ Styles like when that shit came on last, I thought to myself, I was like, did AJ Styles just steal a WrestleMania main event?
Bitch, did
this just happen? Did it just happen? Did this dude just did this?
I mean, given the if you compare both WrestleMania night 1 and night 2, as far as like the interest it drew, like, yeah, he did, but. They really, so the Sunday show was the one they meant to be the big show. It just, people don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. Yes. But yeah, so check that out whenever it comes out. I don't have a date yet, but I'll get with Chad and definitely you guys will be able to hear it. So
yeah. So I guess moving on from there, we can talk about the Jordan doc. The Last Dance, episodes 1 and 2, aired Sunday night. Episodes 3 and 4 will air later today in about 2 hours from the time of this recording, or we're recording it. But
it's funny how we're recording now to be able to watch that.
Yeah, it's almost as if we like made sure to not record it at a later time than watch this shit because like we miss this. It's must see television, especially this time. But yeah, I just I thought that it was. It's just so much feel good of nostalgia of like, yeah, I know like 75% of this stuff that already happened, maybe even as high as 85% of it, but it damn sure felt good, didn't it?
It was like that last 15%, like there's always a chance you'll learn something, whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't know about the story like when they were only making him play 14 minutes a game, and just some of the funny things you see, like when the dude was trying to ask for Jordan's autograph, and then like he looks at the handler to come get this man because like Michael Jordan ain't signed no autographs for you, buddy.
Right.
And you can just see how they all hate Jerry Krause. And like I had to think, I'm like, did Jerry Krause die? Yep, they're beating a dead man up like this, and I don't know, man. Like I think some of the Krause stuff was a little heavy-handed. Knowing what I know now about how general managers react and all that, I think, from Krause's perspective, once he has his champion, it's like he needs some type of challenge or project to validate himself rather than, this thing that essentially he's getting no credit for. So he wants to do a rebuild really bad for job security. And it's like, if you're, the quickest way to get more years as GM is, all right, do a rebuild. And he was like, yo, he was looking at the writing on the wall for these guys, and, a lot of them dudes was breaking down. Rodman was getting old.
Right.
Pippen was getting old. Right. That team was like headed down.
Right.
And
like they probably should not have won in 98.
Yeah. Like I don't know. You hear I read the Jordan rules a long time ago when I was a kid. I know about all the stuff between Krause and Jordan and all that, but I think some of that stuff is like, can't really blame Krause, but he unfortunately, his personality wasn't the type to create the benefit of the doubt for himself.
Right. And I mean, they're playing all the stuff about like the way he looks and making that a referendum on why he shouldn't be deserving of respect, when it's like, it's all the, like, they're basically getting off all these jokes on the fact that this dude is fat. Like, but, I think that the thing for me is I'm watching it and the stuff he's doing is like, that, about the stuff about him, blowing this thing up, or him not wanting to pay Scottie Pippen or Michael Jordan more money than they're already making. But just to see what's the other Jerry, the owner, Reinsdorf. To see Reinsdorf like sit there and like be like, yeah,
throw his hands up.
Yeah, he's put his hands up. It's like, no, man. Like, you hop in here and be like, nah, let's just run this back until we don't win no more. And there probably been one more. 99 would have been a year they definitely would have won them again, probably, especially after the lockout. That would have been a disaster. But I just, for me, it's showing Jordan in a way that I didn't know Scotty to just be like, I don't know why this got so personal. Like, I understand the Scotty like wants his money or whatever else, but like, I don't think you're going to get your money by like insulting this dude and effectively like, you know, saying all types of fighting words to a dude that you know that you can easily whoop his ass. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just found it to be very small from both of them. It's, I mean, obviously a different time, blah, 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 but like, you're being a jerk and you know you're being a jerk. And it's also, you know, the cameras are there too. So it was really weird. I will say though, were there any other things that like came to you, that you thought stood out to you?
Oh, the fucking 63 when he was scoring with fucking El Pooja in the background.
Oh my god, that was the best, wasn't it?
Bro, it was like lighting these boys up. Like, you know, I mean, like I said, this is nothing that we haven't seen or anything before, but it's
like everybody's seen Jordan do the double between the legs on the right baseline against Bird. Everybody's seen that a million times. But
right. It's the packaging. Right. They're selling you this dope right now. Basically, this is a Michael Jordan legacy protecting documentary, and what he did was like that. He just did. This was Act 1 this week. This wasn't like as good as it's gonna get. This wasn't anything. This is just like, oh my god! Like, just you're seeing him in college, and you're learning how special he is. And I don't know, man. It was a really great look into, you know, the greatest basketball player ever. And then it's just like you see him as an old man, and then you see him as the myth that you always hear about, you know, that, you know, if you're younger and you're hearing that. Like, I started watching basketball in the late 90s as Jordan was, you know, headed out. So it's like, man, like like this man really walks around with an orange glow around him.
Right. Like, I think the thing for me that was, well, there are a couple things, but you have no idea how fun it was to see like the stuff of him in North Carolina and him coming through North Carolina and leaving and then like the stuff for me was like Roy Williams. Oh my god, Roy Williams.
Oh my god.
He like Roy Williams
was in full worker mode.
Let's put it this way. He was full recruit Roy Williams. And boy, like when he said that like Michael Jordan is the only person I ever seen that could shut it on and shut it off, but he never shut it off, like goosebumps. Like, this is incredible. Like, this is somebody that is one of the best recruiters in the history of college, in men's college basketball. And this also a guy.
Imagine him walking with that energy into your living room, like your ass going to North Carolina,
right? And this is what I'm getting at with this, right? This is a dude that specifically has been telling these Michael Jordan stories for 35 years, Rich.
He's perfected this game.
There was nobody that was more prepared for this Michael Jordan documentary, aside from Michael Jordan, than Roy Williams. I've been waiting my whole life, or half my whole life, to give y'all this, and it was great. Like, it's so interesting to see, like, but yeah, like, just to talk about that, like, his first few years there, and then he leaves, and then, like, same thing with you. We talk about the 63 is like, for me, and you know, I don't know how much you know, your opinions of Michael Jordan has changed as you've grown up, but like my opinions of Michael Jordan has changed. He went from being a god to me to he's a fucking jerk. And he just happened to be the best basketball player of all time, and those two things are okay. Or those two things are not mutually exclusive. Like, yes, he was the greatest basketball player of all time. He was also an asshole.
Like, yo, the lens I looked at it through, I was like, man, if Kobe did this, y'all would just be up in arms, you know. Like, but Mike do it is cool, you know. You know, that's.
I've always had this is from Mike because of the stuff like this is Kobe thinking that it's how you have to do it. Because why? Because he learned from that guy. Like you have to be a jackass to be able to teach people how to wrestle, how to play basketball. It's like, or to congeal as a team. It's like, nah, you don't. No, you don't. You just have to be really good at basketball and try really damn hard. But yeah, I think the thing for me was once you get to the thing. Another part about me talking about like my opinions of Jordan has changed. Like over the times, like the overblown thing about, or not overblown, but like. The Republicans buy shoes thing that was really a joke, but then people have extrapolated the fact that, like, and taken away the context that he was saying that in jest to mean that, like, yeah, he's willing to sell his soul or whatever else. And then, the stuff where, like, some of the political stuff he's done with donations or whatever else that are kind of like, okay, like, you're both sizing this thing. Okay, whatever. But to know that Michael Jordan is not a person that cares for rap music at all.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No. This is something I've known,
Gotcha.
But this is the thing. Like, to know that he's always some, a person that's never been into rap music or whatever else, even though, like...
But he putting rap all over this shit?
I'm getting to it.
Okay.
But so I'm like, okay, whatever. But once that LL Cool J starts playing and you see those highlights, it was like... my fucking brain exploded. I was like, this is the greatest thing ever. No one will ever do anything better than putting the 63 highlights next to I'm Bad. Because it's like...
It's the same year, the same time period.
Right.
It all lines up.
Right. And it's like... In the late 80s, LL Cool J was probably the best rapper alive. And you have the best athlete alive in his zenith, like super young, and like this like his, oh my god, where is the next decade taking us performance out of him at that time? You're just like, you're watching it and you're just like, oh my god, like whoever thought of putting these two matching song with this is like a genius. This is incredible. Like, so for me, it's like it was great. And then, the stuff with Scotty. Oh, another thing with Jordan coming up is like you hear with Jordan, you hear with Scotty. They both had all of a sudden like over one summer they both grew 5 inches, and it's like that also informs all the stories all these legendary mythical stories that you will hear about people like. And I think some of these 30 for 30s have done that, like the Len Bias thing. Like when I was a kid, I never did drugs. I've never done drugs to this day because when I was a kid, I heard there was a dude that probably could have been better than Jordan, and he did cocaine once and he dropped dead. God. Right? And I was like, oh my God, never. And it's been 20 some years and still never, right? So to hear the stories about, Michael Jordan, he didn't, when he was a sophomore, he never made his varsity team or whatever else. It's like, and then all of a sudden 2 years later he becomes All-American. It's like, yeah. And he also grew 5 fucking inches in a summer. Like Scottie Pippen, same thing. Like he went from being like 5'11" to after high school to all of a sudden he's 6'7". It's like, yeah, these things kind of like these are the contexts that you need. Like these people that like, yes, these people worked very, very hard. They also had growth spurts. They completely changed their trajectory of what they would have been as a basketball player throughout their whole careers. And I mean, the perfect one now that we look at is Anthony Davis now, but like there's a bunch of these stories out there like that. And then you look at the NFL with dudes that, from these that end up getting drafted or become stars out of these high school, that are like 3-star recruits, 2-star recruits. It's like, what happened? Most of the times it's this person hit a growth spurt going into their senior year. After camps and all that stuff was done, so they were late in the process, people didn't realize or whatever else, and they quote unquote developed. No, you hit a growth spurt. Like this stuff happens. Like the classic one was Clay Matthews. Clay Matthews goes to campus at USC, weighs 190 pounds, leaves USC weighing 220 or 250 something pounds. That kind of matters.
And got on that program and the meals. Right,
like weight programs, just random growth spurt stuff or whatever. It's like there's all these stories like that, and people always say like just it's determinationism, like just the wheel of not going. It's like, yes, there's some of that, absolutely true, but let's not pretend that like Scottie Pippen with his set of skills at 6'7" is a lot more devastating than him at 5'11". Yeah. I can't wait to see what they do this or a couple
Rodman
of hours. Like, they're gonna do Rodman. They're gonna talk about him on the Pistons, right?
Yeah. So
I also want to see what they do with that migraine game. I wonder what they do with that. Are they going to even mention it? Because they didn't even come close to touching that in the last 2 episodes.
Yeah. So if you guys haven't seen it, definitely check it out. We're going to be watching it. We're going to be talking about it probably every Sunday.
Yes.
You're talking about last week's.
Yes, you got another 3 of these.
So, yeah, man. So what's next on the list, man?
Oh, man. So, Robert Gronkowski. The
Tampa Bay
WWE Tampa Bay Gronk. The WWE 24/7 champion has one and done it. He is officially retired from professional wrestling. Undefeated.
With the belt.
Yes. I can't believe that we live here. And like I was saying to you, or a few of the fellas in our group, this like growing up here, knowing that like, and it's so weird to say like the Bucks are a legitimate shortlist contender to win the NFC because they have elite quarterback play, or soon we're going to have elite quarterback play because they have an all-time great quarterback. And it's like I understand that y'all don't really realize that because, you know, up until probably like 1998, no one actually like felt like this was actually like a city that had football, right? But like it's a kid to me in my mind, like Rama is imagine like saying like, you know, the Chicago Bears are getting to the Super Bowl or a Super Bowl contender legitimately because of their quarterback play. Like that's really the level of this. And like Gronk coming out of retirement to do this is like, wow, okay. Do I think he's going to be 2012, 2013 Gronk? No. Do I still think he's going to be one of the top tight ends in football? Yes. They're going to be really good on offense. But the Gronk thing is interesting because, like, he was a lot smaller at WrestleMania than he was, like, in his playing days. Like, how's he going to pack on that weight in such a short amount of time? And then you think, like, is the season going to start on time? What's going on with all this? I mean, you know, all this stuff is taking, you know, it's so weird. But, yeah, I mean, as far as the wrestling thing is like, well, this is better. This is probably better than it would have been had he gotten in the ring and actually tried to wrestle. He got out while he was ahead.
I don't think Rob Gronkowski would have offered anything to the world of wrestling at all. So he looked like a goof. He has zero value internationally. He wore a helmet his whole career. It has trouble registering, you know.
Well, Gronk was one of the few people that was recognizable outside the helmet, but I get what you mean. You're mostly right. Like, because really, it's like we're talking about quarterbacks and like a handful of people outside of that. But you're right.
Yeah. So hopefully he defends the belt at some point during the football season in some type of gag manner where he's in the Bucks uniform or something.
Got a question. Do you think after they got off the phone, do you think that Mojo cried?
Yes. Mojo was like, I can't believe you double crossed me like this.
Like, and I'm not saying that we should shame Mojo for potentially crying because, like, I know damn well if I got off that phone with Gronk and I was Mojo, I would have cried too. I'd be like, hey, fuck, you ain't gonna never pop off for me, bro.
Look, because Black Wednesday easily could have been Dean Matati or whatever the hell his name is.
Yeah. Like had it not been for the Gronk, like for all we know, Gronk stayed on just a little bit longer just to make sure that man stayed away from the round of cuts. For all we know, if there's another wave of cuts, your boy might be on there. Like on second thought, like Drake, you doing good promo work right now. You come back. Let me come holler at me, Dean. Come holler at me, Dean.
Yeah.
Or to be like, can you go get that face paint on and put the Bull Nakano back on, please? And you know,
yes or no? Will Tom Brady at some point hold the 24/7 championship? This
like be the champion or hold it? Like touch it?
Be the champion.
No, he doesn't. No.
Does Vince McMahon want him to be the champion?
Oh my God. Absolutely. Like, do you see the thing where they talked about Gronk now going off and they wished him the best and they said that, he's going to be out there and maybe, keep a lookout for Tom Brady? Dude, they would love nothing more than for Tom Brady. Look, they be whoring themselves out to get some type of big star all the time.
Amazing. Who's the coach of the Bucs now? Is it still your boy Dirk Cutter?
No, it's Arians. They got rid of Cutter. They got rid of Cutter, and then they brought in Bruce Arians for the last year was his first year.
Gotcha. I'm so removed.
Like it's funny. It's like obviously Arians has is versatile, but like it's funny. It's like Arians with whether he was with Peyton or he's with Ben in Pittsburgh is like, or when Carson Palmer has always had these quarterbacks that like either could throw the long ball or had cannons, and then like now he's moving to Tom Brady, who's like he's like he's over a decade removed from having the cannon like that. It's funny.
Oh my God, they booked Dan Bryan versus Baron Corbin this week.
All right, I guess we got to talk about wrestling now. Thanks.
All right.
Like, it's funny because like we are now 36 minutes into the show.
Look at us.
I feel like from this moment forward, like our feelings and thoughts and positivity is going to like completely take a huge downturn this next week of us while talking about this week of empty arena wrestling. After just glowing about the Jordan documentary and Gronk and going back into the league and whatever else you're talking about. And you talking about your video games. Like,
yeah.
I feel like
I might have to add in the weekly video game report, what I've done in the promotion as I try to expand globally.
Oh God.
Like the game.
If you want to do that, fine. But that means you just have to start hosting this podcast and producing it and recording it, and so you can tack it on after I leave the premises. Because I don't want to see it for that shit weekly. But yeah, I guess we got to get into it. Talk about wrestling. I don't think we can really go too much into wrestling this week without talking about what's surrounding the Velveteen Dream right now. His account may or may not have been hacked. There's an internet. There are pictures of internet chat, a DM between Velveteen and a woman that is allegedly in high school or was in high school at the time, right?
Not of age. I'll just say that.
Yeah, allegedly is a minor. He is basically flirting with her. I mean, you guys can go through it and see it. Like, there's no way around it. He was flirting with her with her in a way that, like, he knew the age. He asked, like, what grade are you in?
What school do you go to?
Yeah, that's right. What school you go to? Which would also, it's effectively the same thing. You're in a school, like, not college, school.
There were photos leaked or in the conversation as well. Yes.
Yikes.
Yeah.
I know that.
So, yeah.
All bad.
Yeah, all bad. And
like, what it look,
I don't know.
Look, it's an L once you meet something on the internet, but once we find out or once we eventually get some confirmation that this is a minor, it might be Rappington for this dude.
Yeah. I don't really feel comfortable to speak on it until we get a little bit more out of this thing, but it don't look good, and hope it ain't true.
Yeah. And then like Ross Sapp pulled up some police report from like November last year of him like vandalizing a car. It's like
what are you doing?
What's going on, bro? Like, where did this stuff come from?
Yeah.
So and then you pair it with, like, we'll get into it talking about NXT later in the show, but like, you compare this with his performance, like, since he's been back, 'cause he's been back for 2 months now. I don't know what the fuck's going on with this dude. Like, he's been back for 2 months. Like, some of this rush should have came off now. He may be even worse now than he was when he first came back, and he wasn't even good then. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, you wanted to talk about BTE 200. You want to fill me in on that? Cool. But like, I know it's a 200 show. You guys send me stuff from BTE, the stuff that you think I find amusing. I do find it mostly amusing, the stuff you send me, but like, it's not something I'm into as far as watching it. And then like they're doing they did a Nick Jackson versus Matt Jackson match, and like the wrong person won, but you know, we'll see. Let's so like
wrong person did not win.
Sorry?
Or excuse me, the wrong person, like, no, the right person did win. Because,
all right, well, you tell me how so, because
yeah.
I heard that Matt won, and I'm like, that don't sound right.
Yeah. The day you do a Nick Jackson win over Matt is not in his backyard. It's whenever Matt Jackson's last match is. He puts over Nick, and Nick takes the fuck off. Like, and he retires his brother. That's when you do the big win over Matt Jackson. But as far as BT 200, like, just a fun, creative match that just puts a smile on your face. And it was hilarious. It was impressive. They did, you know, like this man, Nick was jumping like off of like these big like perches, putting his brother through a table. They were doing a lot of like wrestling inside of a gym. They did a Canadian destroyer off of a diving board into a pool. It was ridiculous. Lots of wrestling in the grass. Like I lost my mind when they did that Canadian destroyer into the pool. It was like amazing.
Did they sell it?
Yes, it went for a near fall after that. Like, he was in the water, and then like the ref had to jump into the pool as well. Ref had to count in the water. It was a 2 count.
Wait, but, what was his shoulders pinned against?
He was holding them up in, you know, the water.
What?
Yes, you have to see it.
No, I don't. I don't. That.
So, like, by far,
you absolutely know that this is not the wrestling I want to watch.
This is great. This is great. This was like the best, you know, on location type of match. We went about 19 minutes or so. So they didn't do the half-hour deal. They didn't.
I appreciate them for that.
They stayed far away from that level, but I think this was more fun and better wrestled than like anything else. And they did some comedy bits in there where they spoofed the Firefly Funhouse to where they ended up as like Sean and Marty in the barbershop, and you know, putting them through the windows, and then they were wearing like the Rockers gear. It was really funny and really well done.
Who was Sean?
I believe it was Nick.
Makes sense. Appropriate.
I think that and you know, eventually you get to the end, and Matt has the big super kick. He has a boot with the spikes on it that he used against like Candice LeRae and like PWG. Okay. Super kicks Nick off this like ledge or whatever, and you know, he gives him an elbow drop, pins him. Matt wins. I was shocked. But then I was like, well, I can see why, because if you're going to do the big Nick win, as I mentioned, you're going to do that.
But is it a big Nick win if like Nick is already seen as the bigger star?
Well, it's his brother. So like, if you beat him now, like he's always fighting his older brother, no matter what. So like,
well, I thought
if you whoop your big brother now, there's nothing like to really go to.
Okay, so maybe I misunderstood. I thought that this was just like a warm-up match for Nick coming back after what happened to him, like to test where he is.
Yeah.
It wasn't actually like a big thing where it's like, you know, there's some personal thing. Like, I think like I feel like there's still room for like, if they wanted, they could have had Nick win and then like eventually get to that and do a brother versus brother match later where there actually is a personal thing, but you know, whatever. It's on BTE. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
they can run it back again later.
They and this was like you know, after that they broke into this, you know, long like 7-minute portion of the video of like the highlight reel of like the entire run of BTE, like to it starting, to like Adam Cole being in it, to Marty getting added, to Hangman, to Cody, to them selling out All In, to all the pay-per-views, the backstages, all the funny bits. Kenny calling Cody the 3-star savior, and a chair getting thrown in the room like it was Allen Iverson in a bowling alley, and it was like
with far less racial tension.
Yeah, but yeah, it was a really, like, you know, for people that have like followed this, you know, this show, you know, one of the elite star making machines of this time You know, you think about all the people that have come through there that they've, you know, put on, like Adam Cole, Marty Scurll, Hangman, Cody eventually came to BT and, you know, brought what he brought to it. And it's just like anyone that gets on there, they start selling more merch. They get like catchphrases over. It's always like interesting to see, you know, whoever comes into that world ends up like doing better from it. And a lot of people got a feeling like BTE could be ending soon. I didn't get that feeling, but when you think about it, like these guys were not what they are now when this started. Right. This is like, you're talking about successful, like, you know, tag teams in a single, like, you know, like Kenny was a star coming into BTE, but the Bucks, I don't think they were that big. That when you flash forward to now, like they're executives and everything like that. I imagine producing BTE is probably a taxing experience. You know, every week.
Do you think that, I think Nick's the one that does it, right? That does all the editing. Do you think he's still doing it by himself?
Edits. Nah, Hangman also edits too.
Okay, I didn't know that. Okay.
So I don't know. It just like, if it does end, like it would be the end of an era. You know, in a way to, you know, in a way that stars were born. You know, a company like was spawned off of this. Like it changed professional wrestling. You know, for regardless of how goofy it is and everything like that, there are a lot. They taught themselves how to become bookers. They ran angles on this thing, and they sold tickets at the end of the day and created a huge fan base. So if it's, I don't think it's the end, but you know, it could be. I would say you would have to salute these guys, like, you know, at the end of the day, because this was something that started out of nowhere. It started from subscriber 0, and now they have like 440,000 subscribers or something like that. So
yeah, I think I'm subscribed even though I don't watch it. Yeah, I think if they, whatever they want to do is whatever they want to do is fine. I think my biggest issue, or I don't have an issue, but like I think my thing with them is like, and they did it. They actually did it for the 200th show. They actually did promo on Dynamite for it. Is like, if this stuff is a part of the universe or whatever else, like if you want me to or not, like if you want a normal person to watch it, like not everybody knows all this shit is around. So it's like, sell your, you know, tell us what happened on Dark, you know, tell us what happened on BTE, like in a way that where it's like you can still have credibility as a fake sport. Like obviously you can't talk about like, you know, Adam Cole trying to have a feud with Joey Ryan's dick. I know you can't do that. That's fucking that's beyond the pale. But like, you know, the stuff that you can touch on or allude to without like just, you know, just being like, what the you know, but talk about that weekly. Like that's really like, and my beef wasn't actually with or my beef isn't actually with like BTE itself or Dark itself. It's with Dynamite and AEW and them not promoting the shit on a weekly basis or bi-weekly basis. Say, oh yeah, we did this week, go check that out, that's important. Like I kind of don't want Kenny Omega to fucking almost impale himself in a lights out match with Joey Janela for, you know, for almost next to no reason. Like it took them, what, that match happened on a Tuesday, then the next week and then the next day's show of Dynamite they didn't promote it, and then they had to promote it the week after. It's like, I don't know, man. Like if I was Kenny Omega, I'd be pissed. It's like I'm out here murdering my, like, do you remember the Janela Janela did the interview thing where they eat food in a hotel room, right? Or whatever they call that, right? And like the beginning of his was like, yeah, you see the people's likenesses on the trucks, on the AEW trucks, that's cool. And then like Janela's like, no man, fuck this. Like I'm out here killing myself for you guys. And it's like everybody's on a fucking truck, man, except for me. I'm killing myself for you guys. It's like, and I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm Kenny Omega's like, bro, I'm out here damn near getting, you know, almost killing myself in these dark matches. Like, put my shit, promo my shit, please. Like, this shit hurt. but yeah, like, so like that's really all my thing is like, I don't really watch stuff, but like maybe if they promoted like, we think this is special, so you check this out, I'd be like, okay, I'll go see this whatever, you know, Young Bucks match they have on Dark or whatever else, or maybe I would have, or not even me, if for someone else, if they want to, you know, get into this, it's like, if you have a universe, try to immerse people in it. stuff all ties together in a way that makes sense from everything I've heard. So it's like, for the most part, so like, why be afraid to say, hey, go to YouTube?
Yeah, I think it's just different visions, like, you know.
Maybe it's kind of like, maybe you know, Tony is. I'm talking about just the BTE part, not the Dynamite part, not the dark part. The dark part should be promoted, but maybe the BTE thing is like, I don't want to cause no confusion.
I think that could be it too. Yeah, it's like, I don't want, you know, like Matt's called it like the black sheep of any company he's ever worked for. So, so yeah, whatever. So hope it continues. If not, thanks for the memories. And they dropped like a 45-minute cut of like the highlights from the 200 episodes. I'm about 5 minutes into it, dying laughing.
Do they have the one where they basically went to a training school and they just all they did was super kick trainees? Did they have that on?
I'm sure that's going to be on that. I haven't seen the whole thing yet, but
okay. All right. I just want to know another one. Like back when Cody was a heel, do they have when he was in the Snow Lounge with Brandy? Because that was excellent. That was like,
I had to see.
It was so fun. Like they're basically like when you watch various couples like in wrestling, like where there was like Triple H and Stephanie back in the day, and it's like they're so adorable together and they're both evil, so you fucking hate their guts that they're together, and like they're also like in this nice ski lounge, so they're like they ball into. It was like, this is great. It was great. I remember that one. But yeah, there's a few things I've seen, but like most of it is just like it's so goofy and like I don't, you know, whatever. Like but yeah, I guess we move on from there. We can talk about Dynamite since we were already talking about AEW. What do you think of this week's show?
I liked it a lot.
It was way better than last week's.
Yeah, it was like better than last week's
show. That was the worst. I really think that's the worst Dynamite they've ever done. Over the 6 months, 7 months they've done. Like last week's, yeah.
Man.
I'm saying it was a show that was just there. I wouldn't even say it was a bad show. I'd say it was just mediocre. But it was like nothing was working on this show last week, especially the matches. But this week, yeah, like start from the opener, very good match. I mean, I remember it. Me, I got into it a little bit, not into it, but like you were like, this match is awesome. I'm like, it's good. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like Darby versus Sammy, starts out hot, and then like. To me, it went to a weird place. Like it's like the baby face starts working over the heel's leg. The heel is violently fighting from underneath. And then they actually turn it up after that and finishes on a high note. But for me, just like the whole middle of this match is like, why would you do it this way? And also, like, even if you were to do this way, like, why would you want Sammy and Darby doing body part matches? Like.
See, I think it was for Darby, like giving him another dimension, essentially, to go into, you know, like his offense with. Because one thing that they've been very good, and we're ironically going to talk a lot about this on this episode, about is establishing secondary finishers for people in AEW. I don't think there's anyone that's doing this better right now. And eventually, everything with the leg kind of like led to that leg lock thing that he ended up pinning him with. So, you know, if it's in service of that, of course, you know, you start with the jumping off the ladder. Unless you're going to keep jumping off the ladder, you're not going to like you're not going to stay at that level. You got to reel it in first.
No, right. But the thing for me is like, all right, so they start out hot, and it's like almost move per move, effectively the same thing as their match at Revolution, where they start out hot outside the ring, and then Sammy splashes on Darby outside the ring at some point. Well, this time it wasn't a 630 through a table. This time it was a splash off through a ladder that wasn't going to break.
Real ladder.
Yeah. Dumbasses. so then they go to commercial break. And then and then like that's the whole section where Sammy's controlling, and Darby comes back by like he takes off Sammy's foot and then bites right in front of Darby, just bites his toes. I'm like,
it's nasty, bro.
Look, one, that's gross. 2, the ref's looking right the fuck at you, and 3, like I understand there are effectively no rules in AEW, but can we like But can we at least like have the ref pretend that they're fucking rules and be like, stop this, don't do this, this is gross, or slash like this is small digit manipulation, whatever. So they're keep going and it's still like with the dynamic wrong of the heel fighting from underneath or whatever else. And then like, yes, you're right, he did do his cradle or whatever else. But I'm just like, you didn't have to do this part. Like, I feel like they were like, well, you need to go longer than we want you to. So like in the middle, just do this to buy time. And I'm like, I don't really want to watch Sammy and Darby for like do that in the match between them. Like, let them do that in a decade from now when they don't do them kind of crazy bumps no more because they're older now. Like, save that for then. Let them have those matches then, not now.
Well, I think we got a glimpse of the future. I think we're talking about a foundational rivalry going forward. I've seen 2 matches, and I feel like I can say that with confidence now. So,
I think that Sammy needs to win the next one they have. Like, if they're going to have them be actual career rivals or whatever else, then you have to spread it around. This cannot be Azumi and Starlight Kid, where Starlight Kid just whoops Azumi ass even though she's better all the time. It can't be that. So but other than that, like, I just couldn't get into the match in the middle after that, like, once they started doing it, but, like, it did pick up and got very good again, like, in the closing stretch after I'm trying to think there was a spot that basically, like, flipped it. I can't remember what it was, though. But,
I think it was a knee? Maybe?
I really can't recall.
It feels like it's so long ago.
Yeah, like, Wednesday feels like it was, like, 2 weeks ago. I don't know why. But, it like... End of the day, I'm like, it's 3.25. Like, people are higher on it, but like, I'm just like, I don't know what you were trying to accomplish with what you do in the middle as well. So like, but whatever. I still say it's a good match. I'm trying to think what happened after that. Right, it feels like it's 2 weeks ago, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like I almost gotta think about it. You know, the big thing
was it Jimmy Havoc?
What was that?
Was it Jimmy Havoc and Orange Cassidy?
Jimmy Havoc and no, that was not next. I believe the next thing was I think it was a profile piece on
Scorpio Sky.
Scorpio Sky, I think. Jericho and Shivani were fucking awesome on this show, by the way. Broken Matt Hardy, 2 mats. Oh god, yes, right, 2 mats. It ain't for me. Like, it's just not for me. Whatever. I liked his regular self better. So do I. I say the same thing. But, like, I don't know. I don't know where it's going. I don't know if it's because, like, it's the Jericho thing where Jericho is, like, not putting over, or did not put over, Damascus. And then, like, he's talking to him like you're Matt Hardy. Who the fuck you think you fooling? You are Matt Hardy. Stop playing with me. Why are you playing with me? Right. So then, like, I'm sitting. He's still doing the Damascus thing, and I was like, whatever, man. And then, like, once he's Matt Hardy again, it's like, why can't he just be Matt Hardy? Why can't he just be Matt Hardy? Why does he have to be broken Matt Hardy with this shit? And like, I feel like Matt Hardy only works like in the compound doing the cinematic stuff with like the 20-something minute episode of or whatever he's doing to Jeff at the time. Like, I don't think it really works with like, I don't know. Like, I don't like any of this broken Matt Hardy stuff in AEW aside from like the parts that like when Jericho's talking. I just haven't liked it, and I actually liked what he said when he was Matt instead of broken Matt. But I don't know. Maybe it's because like he almost feels like some throw-in shit for what this company has been so far. Mm-hmm. Like, there is room for wackiness. We have Orange Cassidy on the show, for God's sakes, but it's like, okay, so now we're talking about a fucking Highlander, an immortal human being, a person, an immortal being. Yeah, like, yeah. It's too wacky for me. Like, I even enjoyed the shit with like Jericho having heat with Vanguard, but like Matt being I just can't. Look, it don't work for me. The thing that I want out of it is I want Jericho eventually in the lake of reincarnation coming out as old versions of himself. Oh my! Well, he has a hair to do that, doesn't he? I want Lionheart Chris Jericho to show up
Thrill Seeker Jericho.
Come on, baby.
Thrill Seeker Jericho.
Bro, like they all, bring the light jacket back out. Yes, everything. Like I don't know how Matt Hardy works with someone that doesn't have like an extensive history like that. So I don't know. So I hate to kick the can down the road on it, but
they're saying Sammy's up next. It's like, damn, Sammy can't. Sammy just cannot.
Sammy better win.
Sammy ain't gonna win, bro. Sammy been taking another L. Sammy stay getting his ass whooped.
Yuck. Oh, calling it now. Sammy Guevara will turn on Chris Jericho one day. Book it.
He's gonna turn on Jericho, or Jericho's gonna turn on him?
He's gonna turn on Jericho with the Inner Circle, and Sammy will lead the Inner Circle one day. I don't know when, but
do you think
it's gonna happen?
Do you think Sammy's charismatic enough to pull that off, or do you think that he's gonna have to become better on the mic to be able to do that?
He's gonna become more evil, and the second he does that to Jericho, everyone loves Jericho.
Right.
I can see it now.
Okay.
But yeah, up next, Kenny Omega versus Alan Angels, the most talked about squash match of all time, seemingly, James. I don't know, man.
Where do you want to start?
How about we do the match, since the match was actually like something worth watching and a cool kind of exhibition. I might add,
6-minute fun match where Kenny Omega, in my opinion, we'll go over my opinion on this. It was a 6-minute fun match where Kenny Omega gave a guy more than he probably should have compared to what we think of a person of Kenny Omega's standing is. But when he gave him this stuff, it made the match more fun. So, for me, I just shrug my shoulders and move on with my day. Then I wake up the next day and find out that, like, Ryan Satin doesn't know that Kenny Omega's finisher isn't a knee. It's actually an electric chair Michinoku driver. And then Meltzer and Satin are arguing with each other because Satin has that job that has him linked to WWE, and Ryan Satin, no matter what he does, can't like escape the fact that he did that, and he knows that he can't, but he's still trying to pretend like it's no problem. And like they've been saying stuff to each other for like about a year and a half, 2 years now. So it's like this is another small thing, and we're gonna get more of these over time. Like I remember it was one where Meltzer was talking about the people that do good reporting, and like he mentioned Sean Ross Sapp and Wade Keller, and then like he specifically named like everybody you can imagine under sun except for Satin like a year and change ago. So it's like this has been a long time coming. And he's always said that like Meltzer, and Ryan Satin's always been this thing like Meltzer doesn't like me, and then why, and kind of like says in that kind of way like I don't understand why he doesn't like me. So something's happened or whatever else, and we'll probably never know. And honestly, I don't really care. But it's like Ryan, what I need you to do is like know that like
stop coming out here in bad faith.
The first thing is like just know like. The V-trigger isn't a fucking finishing move, so I don't know how we even got here from that. So, like, go ahead, Rich.
Yo, he has to stop coming out here in bad faith, which set off, like, minions upon minions upon minions, which set off everyone else correcting them, letting them know that the V-trigger has never beat anyone. Kenny Omega has a history of giving opponents a lot, especially young guys that aren't on his level. He has a match with Jay White when Jay White is a young lion. Same kind of thing, but a little bit longer. And even more like, wow, Kenny, kind of what are you doing? But what does Kenny Omega get out of blowing through this guy? Like, I don't think this would make Kenny Omega any more over. He's not a monster heel. He's not anything like that. He's a wrestler. Mm-hmm. So when I see this stuff, it's just, when they start trying to turn it into a referendum on Kenny Omega's ability to be a star, Kenny Omega's ability to be looked at as a top person, Kenny Omega's ability to, him not being New Japan Kenny Omega, whatever that is, right? This, I'm like,
how quickly they forget. How quickly we forget that in 2020, he's been the wrestler of the year. How quickly we forget that he's essentially gotten over another act and saved him, thrown a red flag or thrown a damn life preserver to him in Hangman. How quickly we forget that Kenny Omega has other responsibilities like the women's division. How quickly that he requests to even get his own time cut. How quickly we forget all these things that when the promotion was started, for whatever reason, he wasn't the one that was focused on. I guess people are calling for them to start focusing on Kenny in a roundabout way. Is that the case, James? Since is this really what they want? Because, when it happens, and it will, they're all going to cry like hoes the second it happens. And when he's coming out here getting 5 stars and winning the title and drawing big, pay-per-view buy rates on top, they're going to come out here and be upset about it. And we're talking about the New Japan, the pure people that just hate the fact a white man was over there, in the beloved New Japan Pro Wrestling on top as well. Yeah, and he's gone now. The people that are upset that he didn't sign with WWE, so, whatever, he can't possibly be this good. Meanwhile, all you did, you're clamoring for this New Japan Kenny Omega, but you didn't like him when he was over there. So really, what the fuck is it? Why does Kenny Omega bother these people so much that it just burns their soul when the man is peacefully streaming, playing video games on the night of WrestleMania? What are these assholes doing on Twitter? These people are tagging him in WrestleMania videos saying you'll never have a match good as this, just trying to ruin the man's evening. And just for no reason. It's not only fans, it's like wrestlers taking shots. I don't know why Kenny Omega bothers these people like this. He's doing his thing as a nice tag team champion right now, getting over every week with his matches. What's the problem? Why did this set everyone off?
I mean, I have some guesses, right? I would assume that a lot of people have been annoyed by the hype around Kenny Omega. Deserved hype. Let me add that in the front end. Deserved hype. And now that he's in AEW and they didn't immediately gave him the rocket strap and made him the first guy. Instead it was Jericho and Cody and now Moxley. Like, they're like, all right, so where is it from this, this great guy? And it's like, well, I have
all they got to do is open their eyes.
Yeah, it was like, well, that's the point. It was like, well, he has like at worst the third best match in the world this year so far, but whatever. For me, it's weird. Like, yes, like some of the stuff, like for me, like I want Kenny to be a star. I want the Elite to be stars. I want them to I wouldn't say win more, but like not like get laid out by the fucking Dark Order on the last Dynamite of the year. It's weird because like he's clearly like the superstar they have doing tag team duty right now, similar fashion to Tanahashi and Ibushi right now. You think of like Seth Rollins whenever he's in the tag team pictures, like, we don't have much for you, we'll have you do this, whatever, let's try to do, be a utility player. But it's like, yes, he's biding his time, but like, I think a lot of people, because it's been 6 months, like people were expecting, there's a dude that potentially could have, won the Royal Rumble, main evented, well, one of the days of WrestleMania in theory, or last year, or actually no, he would have, last year is what we're talking about, could have. And it's like, all right, he's great. Like, I think he's the best in-ring performer of the year so far in all of wrestling, but let me phrase it, I think he has more great matches than anyone else this year in professional wrestling. But it's like, the stuff I talk about and I think about when it's like, I don't like the Nakazawa match. Like, I just think it's fucking goofy that he's selling for like Nakazawa's this stupid shit, whatever. But maybe that ties into is like he's far too giving for somebody in a business that people have like historically seen as the people that make it are like fucking cutthroat. And maybe like the fact that he is so different from the norm that it like kind of like makes people think like this is strange and they don't know how to
People's
handle.
brains have been poisoned.
Yeah. It's like if we were talking about Kobe and Jordan thing. It's like, you know, like LeBron comes along and they're like, well, wait, you're not a complete jackass. We don't know how to handle that. We don't know. Like, so maybe that's the thing. It's like, you know, Kenny Omega comes through and then like the next 20 years of this is like there are less. I'm not saying that like Roman Reigns some jackass. He's not, but like you look at all these people like that were in these positions and these promotions, whatever, over time in America, major professional wrestling, and it's like all these people had some cutthroat to them, had some game in them, and like Kenny doesn't really seem like much of a person with a game. Like I think his promo delivery is very heelish, and I think that kind of what throws people off as far as like he's supposed to be a goody two shoes, but he kind of comes off as a heel when he talks on TV, but. I don't know. Like, I think he, for the most part, is like he's kind of just to himself, and he's just he's the wrestler that comes in and wrestles and then goes about his fucking day. And like people don't really know how to. If you don't really like put too many words behind what you do, people will start filling in the blanks for you. And I think a lot of people fill in the blanks for him. And it's like, that's not necessarily fair. And it's like, and in some cases it works out. Like if you're Derek Jeter, it worked out for you. You stayed low and did your thing in New York. But like here, you got crazies online that like have wrapped their identities to whatever fake fighting they watch. So it's like, then like all the stuff just runs rampant about like maybe he's real, maybe he has like a dead body in the trunk. It's like, no, relax, chill. Like maybe it's also a Machiavellian scheme of sorts. It's like, I don't know. Like he be hanging out with Kota Ibushi. How intricate do you think his twists and turns are aside from his wrestling matches? I don't know. So I think he's in a nice place. I don't really care that he went 6 minutes. And it's only 6 fucking minutes. Like
6 minutes, James.
6 minutes been something like, oh my god, he gave him way too much. Should have like beat him with one fucking. He should have jackhammered and speared him. It's like, okay,
he was never in serious trouble. He didn't go life and death with the man.
He was never in. Like I took it as it felt like he took the dude lightly, and then he eventually realized, all right, I have to pull out the aces to put this dude away. Like it felt like Serena's quarterfinal match.
And also, they're telling you on commentary the entire time. Jericho's like, I think Kenny's fucking around right now. And he's going to, turn it up in a second. So they're not only telling you the story in the ring, but they're telling you the story on commentary. And if you don't get it or you don't want to listen, that's you that lost it.
Well, I mean, I don't really want to bash Ryan Satin over and over again because, like, one, I think, like, the stuff he reports is...
he's operating in bad faith. That's
right. Like, I'm going to say, like, when we talk about, like, wrestling journals, like, there's two separate things. There's, like, their opinion and what they report. Like, I believe that, like, Sean Ross Sapp or a Wade Keller or a Meltzer or a Satin, whatever they reported is some shit that was given to them, and they went through the whatever process they had to do to get it verified, and they ran with it. Now their opinions are something totally different. And when Satin said this shit about he thinks that he shouldn't have kicked out of V-Trigger, like, okay, maybe. Like, which was the one that was devastating looking? Which one was it? Was it the first one? Okay, so never mind.
He did not kick out of. Oh yeah, by the way, he won the match with the V-Trigger. So it's like,
no, I think the idea was that he hit him with the second one, and then he's like, well, I guess that's his second finish, so why did he kick out of it? It's like, well, no, he never puts anyone away with it. And I remember when it happened, before I even saw the sad stuff, was like, I don't think I've ever seen Kenny beat someone with a V-Trigger. Me personally, like, I've always thought the V-Trigger was a better move to be a finisher than the One Wing Angel, but whatever. So I just,
and this is the version in the ropes that he's the dude's tangled in the ropes. It's not the one that he wins with, or even goes to the One Wing Angel with. Like, so. And you look at the history of wrestling, I think Meltzer did a great job explaining this. And then I saw a whole bunch of squash matches pop up on Twitter. Ric Flair in the 80s. I saw Bret Hart wrestling guys pop up on the timeline. And just a lot of things that it made me think, like, I think people are tripping. I think Kenny Omega bothers them to an insane degree. And I just hope they're ready for whenever they want to flip the switch on the guy, because then he'll be a top star in their face, and they'll have to live with it.
Yeah, and like I think another thing is like, you don't even have to go back to Bret Hart or Ric Flair to talk about like people carrying somebody through a match longer than it should have gone. Like, I just saw Daniel Bryan like go through a TV break with Cesaro. No knocking Cesaro. Cesaro's one of the very best wrestlers in the world. But as far as star power, Daniel Bryan should quote unquote squash that guy. But it didn't happen. You know what they did? They went out there and they wrestled, and it was excellent. And I loved it. This is one of the better in-arena matches of this era. Now this is officially an era, but yeah, like it was one of the better like empty arena matches. Like, do you want to watch exciting wrestling, or do you want to watch like Mike Tyson knock out bums in a less exciting way than Mike Tyson knocked out bums? Because these fake wrestlers can actually knock somebody out. Otherwise, they'd be like kicked out the business for knocking people out on purpose.
I got news for everybody. If Kenny Omega wrestling a 9-year-old girl did not kill his ability to become a worldwide star, I don't think wrestling 6 minutes against Alan Angel.
I forgot about that.
These people, man.
Hey, Rich. 2011 Stardom. Rossy Agawa ahead.
Yep. Amazing. Like, you know, it always it makes me wonder about, you know, the dynamics of how Kenny fights for himself, if he does at all, especially looking at who they've gone with. They've, you know, that promo the first week of the empty arena when Cody was talking about we argue all the time about who's 1 and 1A. I think there's something there, you know, that's going on. I'd like to know. I don't know if we ever will, but I mean, I'm confident his time will come, and I'm enjoying what he's doing now. So, like,
yeah, same here too.
I told Josh this. I was like, I look at this, you know, from a perspective kind of as an artist, because I'm a rapper. Like, if it was like, hey, Rich, we need you to start rapping like it's 2000, like you're 2000 in 2008 again. Like, we need to know that UPS is hiring right now. Like, it's not happening. Like, I'm a different, you know, performer and artist right now. Like, 2018, Kenny Omega's not walked that door. The shit's gone. Like, want the old shit, buy the old album. Like, like we got a whole like new like exciting thing. This was like I've talked about being excited that he got to leave New Japan because he got to do something else. Like, and at this point, it's like you done been to the mountaintop already over in New Japan, which we feel like that's like the premier stage, Wrestle Kingdom, like being the IWGP champion. You done it. So now fulfill yourself creatively. You know, build up your women's division, start a promotion.
Well,
make a new star.
From that perspective, I see where you're going with that. Like, at certain points in this run, these 6 months with Kenny, I feel like at some points he doesn't really feel like he's professionally like or creatively fulfilled when it's some of the stuff he's done. Like, I think like, or at least maybe this is me. It's probably just me projecting, but it's like, all right, so like, when can we quickly get like this one of these two turn heel on each other? We can get this match between Hangman and Kenny. Like, all right, you've done a million tag matches already. Like, enough of that already. Like, you've done the requisite time. Get to your match already at, you know, whenever they were going to do it, probably All Out or whatever else. But or All In. It's All In, All Out. So I mean, yeah, but. You know, I feel like also a lot of stuff is also just up in the air because, like, you know, Blood and Guts got canceled or postponed or whatever the hell. But,
right,
you know, like, I just feel like, yes, there are things to wonder about Kenny and wonder, like, if certain things are there on the American stage or not. But it's like, this 6 minutes match isn't a referendum on. Isn't going to tip the scales one way or the other. No one's going to give a shit. No one's going to even remember that. And I don't mean that in a way like where Vince McMahon does that. No one will remember that. I mean, like, literally, he won the match. He blasted his fucking dude out of the air, out of the sky with a knee,
super power bomb.
And the dude never.
Then a big V trigger.
Yeah,
and put him and establish a second like that. The V trigger can actually win against somebody. Right. So like and. Looking at it from Alan Angel's perspective, we don't know who Alan Angel is going to turn into. Maybe this is a cool match like 15 years from now. Like if Alan Angels is a superstar somewhere, be like, oh yeah, he wrestled Kenny Omega. And you know, one of the interesting things I heard in studying Kenny's career was in 2006, he wrestled against AJ Styles, and AJ Styles looked at him like an equal, and that gave him confidence to continue in the business. And you've heard stories about AJ Styles doing this also with Seth Rollins, like at a different time. So it's like, I think this is just, as you mentioned, it's a guy that people aren't used to hear, that people are always hearing about how terrible this business is and how people stab each other in the back and just are only out for themselves. That when someone like this with plenty of evidence to go around is a giving person, professionally,
he's too nice. It has to be for some reason. Some
ain't right. I don't know if they're waiting for the other shoe to drop or what, or just like, or they just don't know how to handle it. Their brains explode. Right. So anyway, Kenny, keep doing you, and don't worry about these niggas.
If you listen to Kenny, what I need you to do is like, I want you to like, don't wrestle these types of people. I want you to continue fighting like the mid card people on TV, so you can go like 20 minutes with Trent, and once you go 20 minutes with Trent, whatever dumb bump you thinking of taking in like 15 minutes in the match, don't do that. Save that for pay-per-view. Don't do that in front of empty arena. Don't get German suplex off the top rope and land on your shoulder, you damn dumbass. But aside from that, you're doing pretty well. I do miss you in New Japan though. Everything's better in New Japan, so it is what it is.
Yeah, New Japan World is always accepting subscribers. Everyone, if you'd like to go see it so badly, it is there. I promise you, Harold May will take your money. I promise.
Old matches don't hit the same. We need to. You mean to tell me that like if they did? I'm not saying you're saying this, but like I still want this AEW New Japan thing where you saw to see like Ishii just come in and wrestle somebody. Like that's what.
Yeah, that would be tight.
I'm not saying
that would also be like something new too. So
look, because like that's one of the things that for me is like AEW is like their house style is not what I was expecting. I'm not saying that it's bad, but it's not what I was expecting. And like, I don't know at what point I need to let that go. I probably should let it go already, but it's like, it could have been this. It is not, but whatever. Like, it's still, the best wrestling in America right now, but it ain't,
It don't quite curl.
It ain't exactly what I was expecting or wanted, but it's still great, but it could be greater. There's levels still. So I don't know where you're gonna move on from there. We talked a long time about this 6-minute squash.
Yeah. I just and I probably cooled off from where I was like Thursday thinking about this. I'm like, why is this? I don't know. I'm tired of it. Like, it's just I'm tired of this shit. Like let the man live. Like, be happy with Jon Moxley's the champion right now. Talk about him. What he got going on. Talk about Cody and the TNT championship. Just let Kenny live. He chilling right now. My dog don't need to be a world champion in the middle of a pandemic right now. It's okay. Let my dog chill with them tag belts.
It's gonna be now you say that, like, it's gonna be funny as fucking, like, I don't know, 5 years from now when some idiot talks about, well, what about Moxley's reign? What did he do as a champion drawn on top? Nigga, it was a pandemic. We was all indoors. Shut your dumb ass up. Sit your dumb ass down. Drew Galloway did. Drew McIntyre ain't really. Shut the hell up. Shut your ass on. Like, even I know Rich. I know you like to do this with Zach. Like, Okada, he ain't drawing nobody right now. I'm not Okada, but Naito ain't drawing nobody right now, bro.
Yeah, honestly, they should think about stripping the belt. 30-day rule, man ain't defending.
Look, I can't defend it because there's no place that will allow me to defend it.
We just had to, return all the belts to the IWGP, and when it comes back around, everybody can earn those belts over again.
Did you say return them to the IWGP? Yes. Get the fuck out of here.
Look, save that for the end of the year.
Oh my goodness. Do you want to fast forward through the rest of Dynamite?
Yeah. So Orange Cassidy and Jimmy Havoc was pretty good.
Yeah, I actually liked Jimmy Havoc stuff in this match. Like, he was he can actually wrestle. He can do more than just like torture porn. So that's cool.
Jimmy Havoc versus Luther is gonna fucking rule, y'all.
I'll take your word for it.
Write it down.
That man is a dark all-star.
Yeah. Orange Cassidy gets the win, so he's protected, and apparently his segment did pretty well with numbers wise and all that. And Cassidy has he's penetrated. Our homeboys have sent us stuff about Orange Cassidy,
right?
So that's a good sign
because he's doing a parody of pro wrestling and it got over. Like, he's the only person that's really doing that in AEW. Like everybody else, there are comedy shticks, but it's like he's basically like making a mockery of like hulking up and all types of other things that are ridiculous in pro wrestling, and like people are taking it as funny as opposed to, oh my god, like you're exposing the business. And it's like, motherfucker, people have been exposing the business since the business ever existed. Like the second you guys start hitting the fucking ropes, it was done. So let's not do this anymore. Let's stop talking about exposing business. You motherfuckers doing Irish whips. Stop this shit. You have never in your life seen in a fucking pancrase or MMA bout of any sort a motherfucker grabs you, throws you to the ropes, you hit the ropes, you come back. No, it's never happened.
Ready for the move. Right. You come back leading with your face, like
right, feeding. When have you ever in your life seen boxers and fighters feed? Come on. So anyway, except for spar. I mean, the contest, not sparring, but
so nice Scorpio Sky video package. So maybe he'll get like a nice little mid card singles run coming up. MJF was out with a hangnail. He said that he suffered while gambling. It's kind of funny. I expect him to come back. He said he's going to win the AEW title. You think they're doing MJF and Moxley? Because I'll tell you this, I would.
Before all this shit happened with coronavirus, I thought that they were headed that way, and I was like, I would prefer if they did that on TV, but they gave MJF that win over Cody to make him into somebody that can be bankable or trying to get him to bankable as a up the card person on an AEW. So that is a pay-per-view match. I don't think that is a AEW standard main event, but whatever.
We're in the middle of a pandemic now.
Yeah,
I do that now.
Yeah, get it over now. So don't even worry about.
I would do this on pay-per-view.
That's my point. Like, I don't think that shit was going to draw. On top, I figured there would be something involving Jericho or Kenny and Hangman that would have been the thing that would be the real draw. But now that like y'all are still going ahead with this pay-per-view, which is I think is fucking dumb, but whatever. Do it now. And then you could just you can say whatever you want to because there's nobody there to say otherwise.
Nope.
Scam them.
Yep. And almost anything will be better than zero at this point.
Hold on, before we move on, let me stop. Yeah. I don't really mean scam them. I mean he's somebody that won this and the third, and he is over. The thing for me is that ain't my particular brand of wrestling that I want to see on top. So. Yep. Whatever, but this is the time to do it when the time where there's less to watch around. Do it now, move on. But because someone's gonna be like, well, people talk about the scamming, but when that WWE scams me every fucking day, you don't have no problem with it. But that's because they scam me every fucking day.
Right? You dumbass.
So that's why I had to go back and before we move on, let me address it now. Yes, because you know what's gonna happen. All right.
So we got back-to-back squashes, Warlow and Brody Lee putting away Justin Law and Lee Johnson James. So you had mentioned we're now in the golden age of black jobbers. Should we call them the Lee Johnson All-Stars or something? Because we got Lee Johnson.
Yep.
We got Suge D. We got
Tahuti Miles.
Jason Cade, Tahuti Miles. Leon Ruff.
Yeah, we got Leon Ruff. Somebody else in WWE that's out here getting beaten the brakes off.
Denzel Dejournette.
That's who it is. Yep. Yeah.
So
yeah, man.
The golden age of the black jobbers.
Yeah, man.
Amazing.
I think in much a similar fashion to when Jericho won the AEW World Heavyweight Championship, where he demanded like a thank you from Tony Khan and the rest of the geeks that are running the company, and he got it. I believe that Cheeseburger needs to ask for his props. This man took that shit. That man took that shit to Japan. That man got over as a black man in Japan. You know how fucking hard that is to do? Yes. They love Cheeseburger whenever that man come out and get his ass destroyed, right?
Yep.
What was the first thing they did when they brought back in Bully Ray? Have him go out there and have him beat up Cheeseburger. Why? Because immediate heat. Because everybody loves Cheeseburger.
Yep.
Why? Because that man is a geek and he's black and he's very good at his job and he gets people over. Exactly. Look now. Fast forward all these years. Look at the fruits of his labor, prospering.
Yes. Yes. Hey,
a black man come out here and get his ass whoops.
Yes, amazing. And all these people we should mention. Also Sean Dean. I forgot him. He wrestled Sean Spears on AEW Dark. Did a nice little squash there. A lot of these people that are showing up in these jobber roles, they're out of QT school. So we're seeing Lee Johnson. I would take a look at Lee Johnson, Vanilla Vance, who the guy who's in the Dark Order. I don't know if he's signed with the company now. He's also QT school, and he had a good match with Darby Allin.
If he's not signed now, he will eventually be signed.
Yeah, and I think a lot of these people you're going to be seeing.
AEW, but look, that Luke Harper thing was a reenactment. That is like once he gets signed to WWE eventually, that will be life imitating art because people, like, bro, we saw this coming. This is almost like some Simpsons shit where like the Simpsons always predicts the future. Like, bro, they told you this is gonna happen, and that's exactly what happened. This man signed with WWE. He is whatever. The man's name is probably like Cal Saber or some shit like that.
Wardlow looked like a fucking monster.
Yes.
By the way, because of Lee Johnson, and I don't know what Wardlow is right now, right? But I don't know if you remember, like in Simmons' book, where he keeps like this car in the garage with like a hood on him, a hood on it. That's Wardlow. I don't know what he is, but I'm buying stock.
He's basically an 80s monsters come out doing squashes, and like we don't know.
That man look like Batista.
Right, and we're gonna say like we don't know what his ceiling is, and it's like we don't need to know what his fucking ceiling is yet. Let him go out there and just kill people. Who gives a shit? Like, what do you want to go? Do you want to go 15 minutes with Cody right now for what?
I mean,
or in a regular match, not a cage match, not
a cage match.
But I mean, like, and I don't mean that to like slight Cody or whatever else. I don't mean that as Cody's like you can put out anyway. I don't want to see him go out here and wrestle. I don't know. I don't want to see him go out here and wrestle Kenny right now for what?
Yeah.
Let him just go out. Like, why can't we just have somebody come out here and build? Thank you. Yeah, build Mystique. Like, let him go out here, be impressive by doing the stuff he can do right now, and then we'll worry about it after. Like, and if he never does anything more than that, it's a win because it's fun as hell to watch him beat the shit out of people.
And you could have him eventually put someone over.
Yeah, that too. Like that's what helped the Cody thing is like that one lash did so much.
Yeah.
He's like, oh my God, he killed him with one lash. Imagine when he gets his bare hands on him. And then Cody overcame that shit.
Justin Law was on with Brody Lee to show that white jobbers get equal time. Yeah, he got fucked up, and it looks like, Marco Stunt was not pleased. He was sitting staring a hole in Brody Lee, and Mr. Brody shot a look back, and they're going to go face to face.
Before the match started, they showed Marco sitting ringside, and I remember sitting in the message thread.
Bro, Marco Stunt's offended.
I was like, Marco, no, don't do this.
Bro, Marco Stunt is offended by these dudes that think they bigger than him.
Dude, he finna die.
Marco Stunt does not know his own limitations.
Right.
This man is going to go in there, go face to chest with Mr. Brody Lee and try to back him down.
It's gonna be great. I'm trying to imagine like what he's gonna do to him. Is like, oh, it's gonna be so great. I can't wait. Like that might like what else is on the card next week? Darby and Cody is next week, right?
Yeah, and Lance and Dustin. So it might be some more deaths going on here.
So, for me, the second most anticipated match behind Darby and Cody, because I love Darby and Cody matches, will be a potential murder between Brody Lee and Marco Stunt. Like, I don't know how people don't like Marco Stunt, but he goes out here, he gets his ass kicked. It's awesome. Like, I remember the first match they had when, like, pretty much throughout the whole match, like, Pentagon is, like, picking him up with one arm and throwing him across the ring, throwing him into super kicks and stuff. Is like, and he's getting murdered. Like, this is excellent. And then people were doing, it's not realistic he's getting his ass whooped. It's not realistic that the small guy's getting his ass whooped. All he did was get his ass whooped. What are we talking about here?
And do Lucha Libre.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
I don't know about you, James, but I've been watching small dudes do Lucha Libre for like 25 years now.
Same here.
So,
Same here.
Like, I don't know, man.
I don't know. It sounds as if like, they just wanted to complain. Whatever, man. Like, it's going to be awesome. Marco's going to get murdered. Like, I don't know how he tops getting fucking choke thrown off the apron into Orange Cassidy, but he's going to try, and I'm interested to see. I just hope he don't die.
I would tell you this: Margot Stunt is going to be getting a Christmas card from every big guy on the roster at the end of the year.
Yes.
Thank you, brother. Like one of those wrestler thank you brothers.
Hey, bro, that's one of the spots of the year. The shoulder throw. Like, bro, because he threw it so hard that, like, there were three people in the way, and Orange Cassidy is one of the three people, and clearly he's there to break and catch, like, Marco. But Lance threw him so fucking hard that he completely put Orange on his ass. It's like, yo, it made it look even more impressive. It's like, I can't wait to see what they do with these two on Wednesday. I can't wait. It's gonna be so fun. It's gonna be like 5-6 minutes too.
Yeah,
like,
I hope people are ready.
So when Luke Harper destroys him for 6 or 8 minutes, will it then be? Oh, I don't understand why he went so long with him. I wonder.
Yeah. I got a feeling only Kenny's gonna get this.
Or will it be? Oh my God, it's an awesome squash match, which is the point. That is fine.
Had a bubbly bunch. They were doing the Flim Flam instead of the TikTok.
I don't.
That sounds like Jericho humor.
Okay. I saw that Flim Flam. I'm like, Flim Flam. I was like, oh my God, they're going to do a fake TikTok. This is going to be so lame. And sure enough,
it was.
TikTok. Like, I don't know if they could have. Maybe it's a situation where, like, they don't want to, I don't know. I don't understand how they get sued. I don't know. I don't know how that works.
It's the inner circle. Because it's the inner circle. Like, so, like, their whole thing, I don't know. I would look at it
they're
like
all gimmicks.
Yes, it's a complete gimmick.
Fair enough. If that's the case, fine. But I was like, I don't know why you couldn't just do TikTok. I mean, whatever. It is what it is. I thought it was cool. I think it's like Jericho, like, being jealous of Sammy being able to dance is funny. But yeah,
the seeds. Then it was our main event. Kip Sabian and Dustin Rhodes. Dustin put out a retirement stipulation, strangely, over the weekend that not a soul believed.
Not a soul. Not a one. Fake stakes. That's what I like to call them. Like, shit is like when they did Dolph Ziggler versus The Miz in 2016 when that retirement.
Dolph Ziggler will retire.
Yeah, it's like, that man ain't fucking retiring. These fake stakes. But it worked. It was one of the best matches in WWE that year. But whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
it was like 4.5.
Yeah, it's like, this shit's goofy. Whatever. Like, I guess it works if you do it. Like, obviously it can be fake, but, like, as long as you do it right, just like all stuff in wrestling, if you do it, execute it well enough, it can be as goofy or whatever else you want to, and if it works, and that's the end of it. But, like, for me, an empty arena, I was like, all right,
like, I know
what's going to happen. It's like, you're clearly setting him up for him to get murdered by Lance, and then you're gonna do Lance versus Cody, and we'll see from there what happens. Like, I think Cody's gonna win this belt, but whatever. But, like, you're gonna add to the program of, what you did to my brother, my older brother. Yeah. Cody always used everybody around him to sell his angles. You know that. Either people turn him or wearing assholes for him.
Amazing. It's like, go out there your damn self. You know.
Like, think about Inner Circle when Hager kicked Dustin in the nuts and then broke his arm. Like, it's all it's all of the classic babyface stuff. Is like, you use the people around you in your life to explain why this person's awesome, and then these people then, suffer for their love for you or your relationship, and then, like, you have to avenge it. Like, it's classic babyface storytelling.
Yeah, that was
it worked 50 years ago. It'll work 50 years from now.
Even
there's wrestling back in 50 years, but we'll see.
The okay match, nothing special here. I've called Kip Sabian mid Sabian enough times to let the joke stick. What's up, Jeremy? Creator of that joke, but I don't know. Dustin got the win with the Canadian Destroyer, which was something that never wins matches. I've had a change of heart on Kip Sabian. And
yeah, you mentioned that during this match. What has changed your mind? Is his work on Dark?
Yeah. And
okay.
it was when he was a manager. It was a Penelope match actually. And once she won, I believe he helped her cheat to win. He's fighting Anna Jay, recently signed. QT. Then he started like turning around and cutting a promo in the camera, and it felt like I was watching WCW Saturday Night, where you're seeing someone that has the rope to fail, but they're not. They're just trying to see what works. It felt a little bit like when Booker T they know you weren't going to hand him the mic or whatever to cut him a promo. So what would Booker T do? He would yell into the camera during his entrance to make you hear him. That's kind of what I felt like Kip Sabian was doing. It's like, oh, they ain't letting me talk, so I'm about to just yell in the camera and sell out. Like it felt like I was seeing an act in the early stages of figuring it out. And I think in the long run, he has a chance to end up getting over, especially with Penelope there.
Yeah. When I think it's Kip, I think of in a way like the way people think negatively of the indie wrestling style. And thinking it's just like you guys are almost like the what's the word? You're almost like the food process, like big food processing companies, where it's like, okay, you know, like all the stuff that works, and you just do it, but you don't actually know how to cook food that actually tastes good naturally. Like you just pump the stuff with sugar and salt and fat, and you call it a day, and it's addictive because you know how that stuff works to the human mind, right? Or to the brain, right? And it's like you watch Kip wrestle, and it's like he does all the stuff that like 5,000 other people do because they know that stuff works without like actually having anything that's really
don't know why it works.
Yeah, right. Doesn't know why it works, at least not yet, and doesn't know like how to make it into feel like it's his at the same time and own it. So like for me, if he makes it, is like, well, he already has enough understanding to know like what can work, and now it's like now putting it all together. Like, I guess in a phrase, like he has tools, but he doesn't know how to use the tools right in the right way. Like, and eventually maybe he will figure it out. But right now he's kind of in the Mark Merrill role, where like Penelope's a star and he's behind, and you got to figure this shit out.
Yeah, all he got to do is hold on. Like that's all he got to do.
Figuratively or literally?
Both.
Well, they got engaged, right?
Yeah, congratulations to them. So
like 2 weeks ago, yeah. So.
But I like the show.
Way better than last week's.
Yeah. But yeah, and they are going to like a every 2-week schedule, I guess, starting in May. Or something like that. So okay. I think there's like next week or this week's the final, taping they have from this set of tapings, and supposedly is the best one. I think all the big matches are lined up, and then they'll be there for 2 weeks on the 6th. They'll be back the week before Double or Nothing for a live show. I believe they're going to be, doing the pay-per-view on the 23rd. So they may be taping it. I'm not sure, but they're all going to be stationed in Jacksonville, it seems like, for a couple days at the end of the month. So, and we found out through Voice of Wrestling that in the case what Vince was fearing, which turned out to not be the case, that they would accept, either tape programming or anything like that. AEW's like two sources of financial like income for the company are the TV ratings, or excuse me, not the TV ratings, the TV contract in producing new programming in pay-per-view. So with that, the every 2 weeks thing, I'm like, obviously there's no ideal situation here. Like if you don't run, your company probably folds, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if this is the situation they're in, I'm like, all right, take the proper precautions. Try not to get sick. Wash your damn hands.
Right. Like my whole thing with all this stuff is, if you can get away with not doing it, don't do it. In this situation where it seems like they can't get away with not doing it, therefore, it is what it is. Like I wish there was some way they can figure out how to, get people to one particular building and have them, be together and, whatever else, like, and kind of create their own bubble around them in a similar situation to where, like, the NBA is trying to figure out, like, if they can put all these teams in a certain city to have them, do these games in a city, and then they all be, like, basically quarantined and have off one hotel to themselves so they can kind of isolate themselves or whatever else. But, like,
we still don't really know how any of this shit works.
Right. And
like, you can get sick anywhere.
Right. It's not even that you can get sick anywhere because but it's just like, just be as safe as you possibly can if you have to, if you have to do this, and it seems like they have to do this. So, like, it sucks. Just don't fucking get more people killed. That's it. I don't really have much else to say as far as that. Yeah. Just like, I really feel that, like, if you can survive it, don't run shows. And then after that, it is what it is.
Yeah. So anything cool on NXT? I know a couple things that went down, but I know you watched the show.
Yeah, like, okay, so last week I hadn't watched NXT or whatever, so I watched it. Like, Timothy Thatcher on last week's, or not this week's NXT, but the week before, he was bad, flat out bad. Like, he was
really,
his timing stunk. Him and Riddle were tagging together against Fish and Roddy, and this is like that was like the worst Roddy or Riddle match I've ever seen, because, like, they were all on different pages. It felt like they were just calling shit in the ring, and then, like, those three, because they've rushed each other a few times, like, have a certain groove together and understanding that Thatcher had no right, huh?
Like, that's strange, because, like, Thatcher wasn't involved with both of those guys.
How long ago, though?
A couple years, I would say.
Right. So my thing is, like, if you watch this match, you'd be like, huh? It's like there was miscommunication left and right. There was no botches or anything like that, but you could see, like, somebody was thinking this and it was something else, or they would have to, like, bump into each other, whisper whatever they had to say to each other, and then, like, separate and then go over it again at times. It was weird, but, like, there were no flat out outright botches, but it was like, you can clearly tell that, like, whatever, people were thinking different shit. But back to this week's episode, I want to say, and this sucks because I said what I had to say while watching it on Friday, and, like, when the Wednesday stuff comes along, I basically go, like, audio silent as far as listening to other people's stuff, as far as what they had to say, as far as, like, to avoid spoilers for NXT, because I'm always going to watch NXT, or unless something changed, I'm always going to watch NXT on tape delay, or whatever you want to call it. So I don't want to be spoiled on NXT. But I ended up listening to Brian and Vinny this week, just a couple hours ago, and I'm just like, they thought almost exactly everything I thought, except I wasn't as high on that Drake Maverick match. Drake Maverick and not Tony Nese, but Jake Atlas had a match to start out their interim cruiserweight tournament. And they do the video package almost like the cruiserweight tournament, cruiserweight classic, or the Man Classic, where they show you a little insight on who this person is. They show Jake Atlas, and Jake Atlas talks about, like, breaking stereotypes and, like, breaking down borders or something like that, or, like, but it's like, by what? By doing what? And it's like, he didn't say anything about his life or anything. He's like, I'm just here to, like, change stereotypes, whatever. So, like, but it's like, what is a stereotype? I don't.
So it's almost like they want him. They're talking around what he's really talking about. Like they don't want to tell you he's gay.
Oh, he's gay?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay, maybe that's okay.
It's literally his gimmick. That's been like his finishing move was called the LGB DDT on the Indies. Okay, and he wrestled with Rainbow Gear.
So this is the thing, right?
They've stripped that part from him, from what I gather.
I had no idea. So the thing for me is you watch or you hear him say this stuff and then you see him come out and wrestle and you're just like, what is this thing? And now you're telling me what this is. Like, wow, they've done him a disservice. Like, you have him talk about him breaking or like, you know, like being the new normal, but it's like, what is this? What is this different than what is the normal? I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's weird. Yeah. So, but anyway, like, long story short, like
that frames it, right? Like, oh, this really doesn't make sense.
It makes no sense at all. It makes no sense. And I know, like NXT, a lot of them do the, you know this guy from X, therefore you should know Y. But it's like
context clues, motherfucker. Like,
it's like, one, you're not on the network anymore. You're on USA Network.
Hey, and do you think them 50-year-olds are watching PWG that are watching NXT?
That's right. And two, I am nothing. You can't call me anything but a hardcore wrestling fan. I do a weekly podcast. I do a weekly 2-hour podcast on Japanese and American wrestling, right? I had no fucking clue. Like, so, you know, that was a mistake. They took that for granted. They should have went out there and just said it with their chest. And 3 is like they didn't say it with their chest, and that sends a lot of messages about them not just going out there and talk about how this man is just openly gay. Like, just go out there and say it.
Listen to I don't know if you heard Observer Radio from last Wednesday. Meltzer talking about it for 5 minutes. Check it out.
No, I haven't heard. So match was good. Layout I thought was excellent. This was a match that would have been like the layout of the match. You go, you write out all the moves that were done in this match and the sequence they were done in and why it was done and the twists and turns in the match. You would say this is a match that you could think would be like a 3 3/4 star type of match or whatever else. The problem is Drake Maverick, because he's been treated as a goofball for the last almost 2 years with the company. He's probably rusty. He's going to get much burn, and he wasn't like he was out of place, and it wasn't like he didn't know what he was doing. It just felt like he was like working at like a 75% capacity compared to like if there was anyone else from out of 205 Live in there, they would have tore down the non-existent house. Right. So, but yeah, I thought it was
would have echoed off the walls.
Right. I thought it was a very good match. It makes me think more of Drake. Before I'm thinking like, because I never saw him wrestle, so I thought like he must suck. He absolutely does not suck. And in fact, if he has something to do with that match layout, I think he should probably be a producer somewhere if he never wrestles again either. After this. So,
how do you feel about this whole thing with them playing his videos on the air, like the recently fired and using that as a storyline?
Okay, so if I remember correctly, there's like an hour in the middle of NXT that's like from like 9:15 or 9:30 to, or sorry, 8:15 or 8:30 to like 9:15, 9:30 maybe, of just like, this is the old NXT. This is excellent. Like, great wrestling, profile pieces, like, and like the promos were very good, and then like it nosedive off a cliff, and like either started right when he went to going to Drake Maverick after or whatever else, but like, yeah, it's to me, I think it's gross. They fired this dude. They want him to work this thing. He shouldn't be working this. The only reason why he's working this is because he wants to continue wrestling in the wrestling business, and you get a lot of exposure working in WWE on USA Network. Flat out. So he's willing to risk himself getting injured for a company that fired him just days ago to do this. And
he'll run through a fucking wall.
And they're playing up for a storyline to get him empathy. At the end of the day, when I think he's going to be the first person eliminated out the tournament.
We'll see. Is he back next week, or is it going to be like a?
Not next week. Next week is I think he'll be back in 2 weeks. But
okay.
I think there's 2 matches next week. But the thing is, 3 matches next week. But the thing is, they're working a storyline with him where now he has doubt and he played basically like pitiful babyface, like Saffron stuff babyface, which is like the bad babyface. So when they did the sit down interview with him outside, so like it was gross when they talked about him being fired and still working for a company that fired him, but now it's turned to they're like they're potentially burying him too. So on the way out or kicking him in the ass on the way out if you want. I don't know how you want to go so far in the burying, but like it felt bad. But yeah, see what happened after that. I'm trying to think what else happened. Oh, somewhere between that, when all that stuff happened, there is the original planned main event for this show was supposed to be Finn Balor versus Velveteen Dream, and they never matched up before, but then all of a sudden they say that like something happened to Finn Balor that was like not actually a real story, and we don't know what the story is, so they canceled it, and they gave us they had Adam Cole come out, cut a promo on Velveteen saying that you still don't deserve a title shot because you haven't done shit, which he hasn't. And then out of nowhere, while his back is turned, Fish and Roddy come from behind Velveteen in the middle of the ring through a non-existent crowd, and they all whooped him. And Cole came in the ring and they start stomping him out, and then Keith Lee makes a save, and they set up a Roddy and Cole versus Keith Lee and Velveteen match, which we turn out to not get either, but whatever. So they bait and switch you 2 times in one fucking show for their main event. But I'm jumping around a little bit, but like I think the first match was Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez versus Chauncey and Tegan. I thought this was a very good match. I thought that like not Tegan, but Dakota needs to slow down because she is taking all these gigantic bumps and she's gonna be hurting bad if she keeps bumping like this. Like she bumped her ass off. It also made her like a geek, but she was bumping her ass off. And Tegan and Raquel had nice had some nice stuff where like Tegan was trying to like chop her down with like chops and like open hand palm strikes, but like couldn't get the giant off her feet. And I guess that's still up for later, but like they eventually just cheated and Chauncey got pinned. I probably wouldn't have pinned Shotzi, but whatever, that's what they decided to do. But it was a very good match. And they worked fast and had nice pace. It was a good match.
Kushida and Tony Nese.
Oh my god, that match was great. I love this match. I think it's probably the best match I saw this week. It was just Tony Nese and Kushida, and they just went out there and they just like did what you imagine they would do. I'm into the Tony Nese, so I might check that out. Oh, this match was great. Like 3 3/4, maybe 4. It was just a very good. Like this is a CWC match through and through. It was awesome. I don't remember all the stuff. Like it was basically like there was one spot I remember where Kushida's basically legs were wrapped around Nese's waist, like while going for the Kimura, the Sakuraba lock, whatever you want to call it, double wrist lock, and then like Nese turned into a Northern Light suplex for a pin. It was awesome. Like it was a wrestling. It was great, but at the end, they end up on the top rope, and Kushida ends up falling off the top rope, and Kushida ends up hitting the falling Sakuraba lock and got the submission win. They then go from there. They have Mia Yim versus Jessica Maya. Jessica Maya is the old Jessie Alaban.
Yep.
She's at least she's not botching anymore. Remember when she was in man class? She said, my gimmick is that I do botches. She ain't doing that no more. Like she's kind of like
she's evil now, right?
Yeah, I don't know if evil as much as like she just dresses darker or whatever else, and I guess she's trying to play up this like dark sex appeal. I mean, she's an attractive woman. But like Mia Yim beats her. And they had an okay match. And then after that, Charlotte comes out And the week before, Charlotte had this very good promo talking about, like, I want to be talking about the past, present, and future. She's talked about how, like, I beat Natalya for the NXT Women's titles, past stars. Trish wanted to try it again. I sent her packing. I beat Nikki Bella for my first NXT or my first WWE Women's title. She's talking about, like, I dominated the past, and then, like, I've beaten Sasha, I've beaten Bayley, I've beaten Alexa Bliss, I've beaten Becky more times than I can count. And they quickly move past that, and then you talk about, like, now it's time for the future, and I see Io Shirai and I start with Rhea Ripley and Bianca, and talking about all the people in NXT and Mia Yim and Candice LeRae, and like, so
this sounds like you ripping off Rick.
Yeah, so she's like, name dropping. Yep. So she's talking about, like, I want to go through, like, I want to become the greatest, and then, like, I've done everything you can do in the main roster. More or less saying, like, I'm doing this now because, like, I also want to beat the future while before the future starts beating me. Like, I'm trying to think, who was it? Mayweather's trying to fight somebody before they got rid of
Canelo.
Yeah, that's what it was like.
Now.
Get them now before they get you. Right, the same thing. It's like, so that's what she's doing. And so she said, like, next week, my first match on NXT was with Mia Yim. So I want to match with her, and she gets the first shot. And then this week, after Mia Yim beat Jessie, she comes out, and they're actually nice to each other. And then you can see, like, they clearly respect each other. You can kind of see through the WWE-ness of it that they actually, like, enjoy each other. So, or through of just wrestling, not just WWE, but they say nice stuff about each other, about, like, we've grown so much since 2014, everything, and honestly, Mia, you made me a star, and I hope next week that I can return the favor. She said, Mia, you're a good hand, and I hope next week I can return the favor that you gave to me back then. And she walked away, and I was like, oh, that was so disrespectful.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, why on earth did they try to make Charlotte a babyface in 2018? They lost their goddamn minds. Whatever. She's an excellent heel. Like, she's really good at being a shitty person. She's really good at it. So then we get El Hijo
the Evil Garganos.
Oh, hold on. Yes.
Oh, fantastic.
No, that's what we got. It's I probably missed that. Actually, that was actually the before the Mia and Jessie match, but we'll get to it now. We'll talk about it now. So Johnny and Candice, the wrestlings, are together, and they're happy because they're both pieces of shit, and they're evil now. And they said, and basically the story, because, like, it was like 5 minutes, and it was really good, except for when they did the goofy, evil lighting effects, and it's like somebody backstage has too much time on their hands in quarantine by doing this wacky shit. But basically,
I heard she got a new hair color.
Yeah, it's like purple and gray. Yeah. And, like, I think purple lipstick. So anyway, Candice puts 2 plates on the dinner table, and they're sitting at dinner and talking about how happy they are, and how we're good people, and we realize that after all this time in NXT, that being good people gets you no fucking where. Which, if you look at the history of NXT, is accurate as fuck. so then he said, look at my life. I did this, that, and the third with this fucking guy, and he, it almost ruined my career or whatever else. But I put that past me. And then Candice was like, look, I've played big sister to everyone. And then, like, they showed, like, her with Dakota, her with Io, her with Tegan. And look where it got me. We thought that if we just stayed good and fought the good fight, that eventually things would turn around for us and people would change here. We realized that, like, we both reached a breaking point. We realized that shit ain't happening. These people are fucking terrible. So we're going to show you what terrible is. And at the end of the day, the right people will win. And what our goal is now is we want to be the first ever married couple to be NXT men's and women's champions. And at the end, we'll win. I loved it. I thought that the stupid evil camera stuff, like, took away from it, but, like, even with that, I thought it was very good. And then after that, they did a promo package of showing highlights of Io and her in a dark street, cutting a promo in Japanese, and it's translated. And she basically says, "I will destroy the pretty queendom. I bow down to no one," and just all types of other stuff that's awesome. And while showing her highlights, and just like, goddamn, Io's great. And you could just feel like, it's like almost similar to that first promo she cut when she turned heel, was like, you see the delivery, you see the intensity, you see like the charisma even as a heel, and just like, God, she's good. Like, I wish I knew Japanese to know what the fuck she was saying. Like, obviously it's translated to bottom, but like the full experience, even with the translation and the subtitles, it was great. It was awesome.
That just makes me sad.
Yeah,
she's gonna have to lose to Charlotte.
Yeah. So then we fast forward.
Christ.
Then we not fast forward. Then we hit this is where the Rock hits the cliff. El Hijo del Fantasma versus Jack Gallagher. They went out there and they had a match. Now, when this match happened, I thought to myself, maybe El Hijo del Fantasma is like... Oh, sorry. After the match, he gets on the mic. They give him... the winners get an interview after the match. So, Fantasma cuts a promo in English, and he's like... He's very likable and compelling while he's talking. Like, he seems so confident and sure of himself, and it's nice. So I thought to myself, maybe he's going to be NXT Roosh. Maybe. Whereas, like, this isn't really his... Like, he's not a super flippy, super spectacular guy, but he is a good wrestler, and he has more charisma than anyone else. So he'll make it. Because, like, you saw him, like, speaking Spanish, and it's like... that dude just like comes off the screen and grabs you, right? So then they go backstage where he's outside for some reason. Later in the show, I'm just gonna wrap this up quick. And then like all of a sudden the goons that have been snatched people out the parking lot in lucha masks try to snatch him. He just like, it was very similar to when like Takumi Iroha beat the shit out of Edo Tai to stop them from beating up Mayu, and it's like, get the fuck out of here, like take your asses on fire to really fuck you up. It was like one of those like, get away from me, get. So it was one of those. So I guess we'll figure out what's gonna happen with these people getting snatched out of the parking lot, but it ain't happening to it ain't happening to Phantasma. He ain't with that shit.
Maybe it's some type of scam.
Oh,
maybe he's the leader.
Oh God, I hope not. Please don't do that. Please don't do this.
Maybe this was just to throw you off.
Throw him off the scent.
Yes, because he didn't get him nothing.
I'm tired of being swerved. I'm tired of being swerved in NXT. Please stop this. So then we get the main event. Velveteen Dream, Velveteen Dream, Keith Lee versus Adam Cole, Roger Strong. They try to start wrestling. Ref gets distracted. Keith Lee's outside. Damian Priest comes out with the nightstick that he's been using on people, specifically like someone like Dijak. He used it on Keith Lee once before. And it hits him in the throat with the nightstick. He can't continue, so therefore it's now before the match even really started, is a 2-on-1 handicap match. Adam Cole and Roddy proceed to beat the living shit out of Velveteen Dream. And then all of a sudden, after a tight camera cut, they cut back out. And Dexter Lumis is sitting on the babyface apron. You're like, what the fuck? Where did you come from?
Man, better Dexter Lumis.
And then like the ref says, if you're gonna tag in, you need to grab the tag rope. Nigga, if you don't tell him to get the fuck on, he's not in the match.
Who booked this?
Whatever. He grabs the tag rope. He grabs the tag rope. He runs wild. Velveteen ends up getting back in the ring, gets as legal person with Adam Cole in there. He ends up pinning him with I think the elbow drop. So he actually beat the champion, pinned him. So now he deserves a title shot. And I'm sorry, like Velveteen's been back for 2 months, and he has stunk. This is a dude that like if you were going to the Largo Loop in 2018, in the middle of 2018,
he looked like he almost had it all figured out.
Like, if you go from if you can look at like what he was doing in the first Worlds Collide tournament, the reason why he wasn't on the Phoenix card, same thing with Adam Cole, he wasn't on the Phoenix card either. They were on Worlds Collide. And Velveteen, Adam Cole, and Tyler Bate were all varying degrees of great in that tournament, right? Mm-hmm. And we talked about the house shows where, like, he goes out there in these house shows and he's having 4-star level matches in house shows. Adam Cole goes out there and have over 4-star level matches on house shows when we've seen him at Keith Lee and Kushida too. So it's very, very weird that, like, he was gone for from September to February, and he's been back for 2 months now, and he still looks like he hasn't wrestled at all. I don't know if, like, maybe, like, he was a person that was working out at the PC. Maybe they're not doing anything at the PC anymore. I don't know. I doubt that, but, like, there has to be some explanation for why he's been around for 2 months, back for 2 months, and he still looks like he hasn't been back for 2 months. Like, he still is, like, his first night back. It's very weird. You figure that he would, like, the rust would be off, and, like, he may even be worse than when he showed back up in February. It's weird. Damn. It's very weird with him. I don't know if it's because, you know, you look at his performance, you look at what this stuff has happened this week, and hearing about this thing in November, and it's like maybe this a lot of weird, you know, a lot of stuff is affecting him outside of this, and it's like affecting him in the ring. I don't know. All I know is this was a shitty week for Velveteen Dream, and we need some answers on
everything
that's going on. Oh yeah, we do. We need some answers, and I don't know, like, you know, he beat the champion, and a day later, like, this shit comes out. It's like, yo, this is all bad. Like, and I don't mean, like, all bad in the sense of, oh my God, this opportunity maybe happened to him because of what happened to him. I mean, it's all bad. It's like, yo, you may be a pedophile, my guy. We need to like pump the brakes on you until we get some answers on this shit.
Like, we need to get him, like I don't need to see him on TV until this is answered.
Yeah,
like,
I feel the same way.
But I think we're coming up against it, so
yeah. So we'll plug you. We'll put all the plugs are in the description. So
I'll at y'all. Y'all know what it is.
Later.
Peace.
Hey, I'm back. I'm here just to wrap this up and give you guys the plugs. But we basically rushed off air so we can watch night 2 of the Jordan documentaries. So it was fun. Pair of episodes tonight. For those that are WCW fans or fans of Monday Night War, I suggest you guys check out episode 3. It really touches on and focuses on Dennis Rodman and kind of his rise as a star and personality, one of the greatest characters in NBA history on this show. And you kind of see, like, he's a different cat. And this is at a time when, like, being a different cat meant, like, a lot of people making a lot of assumptions about you and a lot of things. But, like, you know, I think, you know, as a society, we've kind of grown in the time since then. So now he is one of the people that were kind of seen as, like, you know, some type of black mark on the league or whatever you want to say. It's like if he came around in this time, I think he'd be a lot more receptive. But, you know, it takes, you know, people like that to kind of be at the forefront and carry the torch for people that want to be outside the cookie cutter mold. But yeah, it's interesting to see how great of a defensive player and rebounder he was, and you kind of forget that and just focus on the other stuff around him, all the bells and whistles. Like, nah, he could really play. Was he like somebody that should be in Bill Simmons' top 100 players all the time? No, fuck no. But he was a very, very good damn player and won a lot because he was very good. But yeah, that's the end of the show. One more important thing of note: Carmen Electra. She still throws heat. But anyway, that's the end of the show. Be sure to rate us on whatever app you use and listen to this. Tell the folks about the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Be sure to check out our friends at Powerslam.tv, the sponsor of the show. If you're a fan of independent pro wrestling, have over 5,000 hours of footage from all over the world, you can use the code Social Suplex to get your free month's trial. Don't forget to visit ProWrestlingTees.com/Social Suplex and pick up some official Social Suplex Podcast Network merchandise. Be sure to check out the other shows on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. On Sundays, we have this show, One Nation Radio. On Tuesdays, we have Keepin It Strong Style. On Wednesdays, we have the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Podcast. And every other Wednesday, we have Grown and Watch This Shit. On Fridays, we have Get in the Ring. And on Saturdays, we have All Things Elite. Thanks for listening. Later.